Well, hey, folks, we're going to work on martial powers today. We've completed the class designs, all the subclass designs, the power system itself, and we're working well through the DM section. And on Saturdays, we've been building the Hex Crawl campaign through the Ravnica Rebel Belt using Colorland as the format of distinguishing tile sets from each other as the team traverses the lands. Now I want to create a series of pre-generated characters just to show off building kits, having some fun with just throwing characters around a little bit, and talking about how the mechanical martial power system complements the narrative of the different type of characters that you can make, using Dimir Rogue as our first character. We'll go through all 10 guilds and have a stack of pre-generated characters for people just to grab and go if they decide to play test with us. Unless, of course, you build your own character and come to the table with something unique that you've built that you want to play. If that guy dies, or if you're just showing up, then we'll have a stack of pre-generated characters, of which this will be a part of it. So let me check my signal here real quick, make sure we're coming through. I'll do just a fast little intro, and then we'll get started here with building characters. So mic check, and then we'll get started. Yeah, it sounds like mic check's going through A-OK. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Twitter and Reddits and Discords, just to let the words be heard. There, we got that click, got there. There we go. And then I'm going to go into Discord. I have a Discord channel now. Hold on real quick. Copy, paste. Okay, cool. So quick intro for those that are here in the future, after the fact, and know what I'm all about. Go ahead and skip forward a minute. But for those in the future that are new to the channel, hello, the future. If you're here live with me now, or if you're curious about what it is we got going on here, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years, and there are a slew of links in the description down below to other works that I've already created. The first of which you'll run across, and probably the most relevant to this conversation, is the Color Mana Spell Point variant rule system that I created a couple years back. It's nearly a gold bestseller, so thanks a lot for everybody that's been in support of the ideas and purchasing to help encourage, create more, and push it up the ranks. But we have a color mana system that we have been developing that basically converts spell casting and the 8 schools of magic into the 5 color magic paradigm, and provides a color mana pool for us to be able to cast spells. And the Martial Powers project specifically has been an effort to create, when I find the thing here, Martial Powers blurb. Here is it's a color mana system that uses the same spell point progressions as we have in the Universal Spell Point system, the Martial Power, the Spell Point Warlocks, and the Color Mana Spell Point variant rule system. So all 13 classes can use the same color mana resource inside of a Magic the Gathering setting if you want to have that layer of, if you want to use the color mana system instead of spell slots and schools of magic from generic D&D. So this content here, let's take a quick look here. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future. We have content here for you. The actual playtest content's on my Patreon here. You don't have to be a member to access it, but if you click into it, it'll open a read-only document. You can only read it, but it will be on the DMsGuild, like everything else that I do when it's done, with extensive free previews, so you guys can see what this thing's all about. But while we're in the testing phase, this document is read-only because we want to respect the rules of the DMsGuild. I can't just give you content and then sell it later. You can see some stuff, and playtesting's okay, but I can't actually let you have any of the documentation until it prints on the DMsGuild. So keep an eye out for that stuff. Like, for instance, all the stuff that we have on the DMsGuild here, the bundle here, it's all heavily discounted if you want to contribute funds to help make the thing grow. But most importantly, it's a 75-page document, and it's 100% free preview. So if you want to see what I do before you decide you want to invest in my efforts, then go right ahead. I want you to play the thing. So if you think it's cool, you'll come around and you'll help expand it. That's just how the world works. So without any further ado, we are going to build a Dimir Rogue today. So there's a couple things we need to do. Let's see. First thing I want to do is peel off a chunk of one of the document, one of the open windows here, and go all the way down to the end. This is a 95-page document currently. So if you kick down to the end with me, we can start building sample characters down here. Let's go with pre-gen sample characters. There. Okay, we finished the fighter subclasses. We finished the monk subclasses. We're doing well in the monster and magic paradigms. That's actually not quite done yet. So let's go to January. Let's just update our timeline here. February to April, tentative playtesting, levels 3 to 9. Probably go February to June. July, send to editors. August. Book cover art. August, layouts and art. November, publish. There's our tentative timeline. We're well on our way with the monsters already. So actually that's actually done, but we can finish up the magic paradigm here. Let's finish magic paradigms and rubble belts, West March campaign prep. Prep the playtest. February, March, April, May, June. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like every 3 weeks. April, May, February, March, April, May, June. 5 months. That actually jives. In 5 months, we're going to have 21 weeks. It's perfect. I suspect by April, we're going to be able to acknowledge that this shit works well at the low levels. And then we're just going to play for fun. Just to BS for a while we continue building out mechanics. Since the Spelljammer book will be off my plate and I'll be working on Eberron Monday through Friday in the morning, that's going to free up my weekends, my evenings, and my lunches to work on martial powers specifically, or any other project, any other side project I want to work on at that point. So we're doing good here. So we're going to go with pre-gen. We're going to go with Dimir Rogue. So this is our starting spot here. Let's peel open our documents. If you're interested in what's going on with this martial powers stuff, I mean, to be honest, we have 107 episodes before this that walk through and build all of this stuff in the conversation, the logic, and all the things that are going on. And needless to say, it's an alternate magic system that's not spellcasting, that uses the spell point system that we use for the color mana spell point variant rules. And we're specifically going to do a playtest in the Ravnica campaign setting in the Rubble Belt region, because that's a wasteland area that sets up a fun West March platoon caravan system that I wanted to playtest for a while now, just to play it. And we now have an excuse to do so. So, hey, Bill's mom, what's up, my guy? Yeah. Well, they call it 5th edition 2024, or rather just one D&D. They're having marketing issues, and that they don't have a really good. I'm gonna do that. There we go. They don't have a really good language for figuring out what to call it, but tentatively we're looking at June. It could be September. It was initially teased in May for the player's handbook, which is great if it is. But it could be June, it could be August, it could be September, it could be November. We honestly don't know yet. There's no actual date set, but we're anticipating maybe June. So I'm going to be ready for that, which probably means that the new edition is going to come out before we actually publish this book, which is fucking fantastic. Because everything that we've seen in the playtesting content for the 24 version of D&D actually works better with what we've built inside this book than what Core 5e 2014 provides. So I honestly don't mind slow cooking this thing until it actually comes out hot off the press on the heels of 2024, because it's just going to be that much. Because I won't have to worry about a conversion, but it'll be red hot. So I'm looking forward to that, and we're going to convert all of our core mechanics and all the other color magic stuff that we've done so far to be compliant with whatever new spellcasting stuff they decide to lock in for 2024. Though our color mana system will remain unchanged, because the spell points are a rudimentary reflection of the amount of spells worth of spell points you get from the spell slot system. That is the generic vanilla version of playing D&D. So the core of that's not going to change. The concentration mechanics don't need to change. Devotion will work basically the same as it does. The only thing that's really going to change is just looking at specific class and subclass features and then rebuilding those so that they jive with color mana. And there's a lot more tech we get to add into those books. So I don't know when I would have gotten to this glam up of my books if 2024 hadn't come around with the revisions. So I'm actually very happy to see them, because it's going to keep my stuff relevant for probably another 10 years. So, and then we just have the opportunity now, once this book is published, we'll have all 13 classes using the same color mana language. It'll be really easy for us to start building different kits and books, whether on Patreon, Discord, just posting stuff on Reddit, or whatever it is I end up doing. Once I have that base language, that architecture in place for an entire campaign, we can just riff, build, and dive in deep on any particular tangent, eddy, or detail that we want. There's a lot of stuff we can do with it. It's just a matter of parsing it into my workflow of what I got going on. So, having said that, because I certainly do like to pontificate, don't I? We have, what do we got? We got about another, maybe like an hour and 20 minutes to build. So let's see. First thing we're going to do is get down to the rogue, and then we're going to dive down deeper into the guilds. So there's the rogue, subclass of the rogue, the guild that you're going to be a part of as your background, and then the powers that you're going to actually select. And then there, of course, there's your actual like character race and traits and stuff, which isn't nearly as important. But give me a second here to dive all the way down here. While I'm scrolling, what's up? Can one of the playtest characters be built entirely by dice rolls? Every choice is sure. I mean, you certainly can. We could do that. Maybe we'll do that with Gruul, since it's a red-green school. It's red-green magic and chaos stricken. Izet is also chaos stricken, as is Rakdos. For Dimir, though, I want to build a specific kit. I don't know what kit I want to build specifically. I just know I want to build something very Dimir roguey, like with like intent. I'm open to doing a chaos build. Let's see. Okay, what I do need to do is add in here, because we can do Theros characters and Strixhaven characters and elemental characters as well eventually. But let's see. Can choose basic damage types instead. Basic damage types are H doesn't count. It's technically alphabetized by Dimir. D. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right, there we go. I. Yeah. Rakdos, not Colt. So that's how that stacks. Blue, black, cold, acid. Where are you at? Dimir, thank you. Cold or acid? And then at 5th level, you can upgrade your damage type to your advanced damage type, which is going to be necrotic or psychic. You can always learn these damage. Okay, so you're by default going to get cantrips. Instead of cantrips, if you don't want them, you could choose to gain your basic damage types based on your color, which is black and blue. Here is acid and cold. At 5th level, your damage types can upgrade. So you can ditch acid and cold and instead pick up necrotic and psychic damage. Or you could mix and match. Acid and psychic, or cold and psychic, or acid and necrotic. I don't care. But if you swap out both damage types, you lose your cantrips. You can always learn these 4 damage types anytime you want on your own as powers that you've learned. We're going to start these guys as 3rd level characters. So when we dive in with 3 rogue types, martial powers, there we go. So rogue at 3, rogue uses martial points, which is gained on a short rest. Max is going to have first rank powers at 3rd level. I'll know 4 powers of my own, and I'll be using a D6. But I'm going to get a stack of powers from the background that I choose. Here's Dimir, and I'm going to get a stack of backgrounds, a stack of powers from whatever we gain off of whichever subclass we go with. But we need to organize that stuff. So let's see how well I can do this. Race, we're going to go elf. Equals elf because there's elves in Ravnica, and elf Dimir rogue just feels right. The standard array that I typically use for playtesting, stats, stat line. The stat line I like to use is 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6. So you have a +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, and a -2 in your basic stat line. So as you gain levels, you can either shore up these shitty weaknesses, or you can lean into where your strengths are at and cap that out first and then shore up later, or maybe you can find a dump stat. But the way that the system works is that DMs are encouraged to have 2 effects each combat or challenge that's going to trigger saving throws. And 1 mental stat like strength, dex, con, and then either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Having 2 of those going in any given encounter, so that when you're making, because every time you make a saving throw, it tests your concentration. If you fail, if the roll of your saving throw, even if you succeed the saving throw, if it's less than the minimum level of concentration to maintain the amount of mana that you're sustaining, you'll blow all your mana, and then you'll lose all your points. So since there are no set durations for any effects or spells that we have in the game, they'll last for either all day or until you lose concentration on them. So we have an aggressive concentration check system, which we call attrition, which basically, depending on how harsh or difficult the conditions that your characters are enduring, will trigger checks frequently based on the severity. If it's like unnaturally hot, like if you're walking through lava, you're gonna have to make a concentration check every round, and like it'll be like a Constitution saving throw. And if you're stacking 4 mana, you're gonna have to make a DC 14 the lava itself, the save damage might be like a DC 18. But as long as you roll at least a 14, you'd be able to maintain your mana, even though you failed the saving throw and took full damage from the lava. Conversely, if you were making a saving throw against, like, say, a goblin cantrip that only has like an intelligence saving throw of 12, but you're maintaining 14 mana, you could roll a 13 on your intelligence saving throw, succeed the goblin cantrip test, but fail your concentration. So even though you pass the saving throw, you're dumping all your mana. So your mana is something that you always have to pay attention to. It's a fun dynamic, and spell points are so fluid at the medium and higher levels. There's so much mana that your characters have available that forcing them to go through this attrition effect to spontaneously knock out spell powers that they're maintaining is actually like a low simmer challenge or an added risk to any challenges that you present. And it helps exhaust their resources more quickly so that characters are encouraged to take short rests to either recalibrate the points that they have or refresh their spell points. So depending on what kind of a character they're playing. So once we finish building the character, we'll know what our stat line is going to be. Background equals Dimir. Class equals Rogue. Subclass equals, I don't know yet. Powers. Let's see. Background. Subclass. Because we're building 3rd level. Dimir Rogue, 3rd level. Because that's the early, that's the first, we're just starting at 3rd level for playtesting for now. It's because it feels like a good level to start with. Don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go Rogue. Let's see. Expertise. Sneak, attack, archetype. Cunning action. There we go. Thieves can't. Blah. Roguish. Did I spell that right? Roguish. No E. Interesting. Expertise. At 1st level, choose 2 skills. Okay. Let's go with features, powers. Sorry, just building the class real quick here. Let's see. Archetype, features, class, features, architect, features, proficiencies. I'm dropping proficiencies down into the substacks Let's see. Light armor. Simple weapons. Long sword. Rapier. Short sword. And crossbow. Thieves. Tools. Choose fucking 4. Okay. Let's go with insight, acrobatics, investigation, so. No, I don't mind at all. If you're on my Discord, go down into the playtest section to start dropping in suggestions if you want, like Loxodons, Velkadin or Vidalkin. Thank you, Vidalkin. Goblinoids, whatever. It's wide array are available. It doesn't necessarily have to be Ravnica specific, though it's obviously helpful. Let's go with expertise in perception and acrobatics. Oh, wait. Thieves' tools. Actually, let's go expertise in investigation so we can use better trap finding. Proficiencies are there, and we may have... Oh, yeah, and saving throws. Dex and int. This is we'll be able to use this template for future character builds as well. There, that should set us up okay. Like, let's look at the basic structure in place. We'll probably want to put like dexterity is probably going to be capped out. We don't have to worry about intelligence so much. Let's go with Constitution 12 so that we have a little kick on our concentration effect. We can leave them dumb. We can go lean into wisdom for the perception and the insight. Yeah, insight and investigations will use wisdom. Insight and perception uses wisdom. Investigation uses intelligence. So having a high intelligence with expertise will make him really good at sleuthing traps and finding issues. So S, D, C, I, W, charisma. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Perfect. All right, so we're talking Dimir. So, hey, Finger, how you doing? I don't know if you've been here before, Finger. We're building Ravnica characters using the martial power system that we have been developing here on stream for the past... this is episode 108 today. So we've been at this for a year now. We're going to start playtesting next month. And then if everything goes smoothly, we should have this published with all the other Color Mana stuff that I've created. Got to fix my chair. There we go. Good cushion for my cushion. Should be published maybe October, November-ish. Mug disappears. All right, so let's see. Let's look at our powers. Background. Dimir. And then we'll pick out our subclass. So what do we get from Dimir? Let's go to our handy dandy list. Bloop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oof, there is a lot. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. We're going to keep Encode Thoughts and Mage Hands. We could pick up Cold and Acid damage if we wanted to. We're not 5th level yet, so we're going to be limited there. But Encode Thoughts is incredibly Dimir. It's quintessential Dimir type activity. Stealing people and recording their thoughts is fan-fucking-tastic. Mage Hand to have an invisible telekinesis thing comes in really handy too. So we'll keep those. We'll go with Encode Thoughts, cantrip, and Mage Hand, cantrip. Dimir also gets Subtle Channeling and Beguiling Trance. So the way that powers work is that there are no components. There are no somatic, verbal, or material components. You don't have to have your hands free to activate these things, but they always have a visual signature. And when you're targeted by an effect, you always know that you're being targeted by a power, even though it may take effect and modify your opinion about being targeted by power. You know that there's power at work. And if you can see the source of the power, you know that's the source. And so what subtle channeling does is it removes your ability to know where the source of power is coming from. I think I need to make a kicker effect on that, actually, since we're having this conversation about powers. What great timing. Where are we at? We're here in the rogue. We're here in there. We're up here at the top. Yeah, let's just open up another one. And where did we want to go? We wanted to go down into the powers themselves. I see some text. Give me a minute. I'll catch up with you. All this stuff is built out. It's in the description down below. It's a read-only document. I can't just give people access to this stuff to play with. It has to remain. I'm not allowed to give a document away and still publish it on the DMsGuild. But I can make a playtest document with non-finalized language that isn't formatted that I can at least share for people to help me with the playtesting process and see what it is we got going on. All this stuff is going to be reformatted, and I'm going to hire an editor to work the wording so it all is consistent and makes sense and is distinctly different from what this playtest content. We'll be wording it differently and consistently. So that's actually an important distinguishment to make. In the future, when I start doing Kickstarter projects, I can just post finalized stuff and say, hey, help me support this thing, and you'll be able to have at it. But while we're using Wizards of the Coast IPs like Magic the Gathering, Color Mana stuff, we need to play by their rules and respect them. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And thanks, guys, for letting us use these IPs. They're fucking amazing. Let's see how subtle channeling works. Subtle channeling: when you channel a power, there's no visual evidence. You are the source of power. When you channel a power. You are the source, and you don't notice the use of power until you fail a saving throw against it. Most of these things have things that automatically trigger power effects. Like if I'm going to trigger a thundering strike, for instance, I'm going to push you 10 feet. There's no saving throw. But things like Beguiling Strike, when I hit you, you're charmed and you don't move until you take damage again, shake off the effect with a wisdom saving throw, or somebody shakes you awake. If you were to be shaken awake by a Beguiling Strike that does subtle channeling, when you wake up, that's when, if you make a saving throw to wake up, when you pass that saving throw, you'll realize I got put to sleep by power. There's some sort of power, there's some sort of channeler nearby that we need to keep an eye out for. If I don't use subtle channeling, I can hit you with a beguiling strike effect and put you to sleep, and you know you're being magicked to sleep, but obviously you wouldn't be able to do anything about it until you woke up. So, subtle differences, but it's subtle channeling. So, we are limited to 5e SRD. Not really. I mean, if you... I can use anything from the... player's handbook. On the DM's Guild, you can use anything in 5e. All the subclasses and stuff that were published by Wizards of the Coast, I have access to it, but I can't give you the document with that stuff on there if it's going to be something I'm going to ask for payment for. And obviously I do, because I've been building this book for a year. I want to have compensation for it in the end effect. And so call me selfish if you want. Subtle channeling, but that means that if I play by their rules, I can use everything. So beguiling, there it is, beguiling trance. Beguiling trance. And that is a maneuver. That's a first rank maneuver. So the way that subtle channeling works is that I trigger the effect, and then basically, like as a kicker cost, as a separate cost on top of whatever else I did, I can trigger subtle channeling. So like if I spent 3 mana to trigger a fear effect, I could then make that subtle channeling a concealed effect, so you don't know why the fear is happening, just that you're being hit with fear and that you're scared and you run. If you make the saving throw, you'll know that, oh, that was coming from that Dimir character over there. If you fail the saving throw, you're just going to run away. You'll be afraid of the Dimir character, but you won't know its power that's causing it. You'll just be afraid. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. You don't always have to use it, but it'll cost you an extra point of mana to do so. Maneuvers use either an action, a bonus action, or you could trigger it twice in the same round by doing both. Beguiling trances, you can this is a maneuver effect, so you can target a creature that you can see that can also see you to make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, it is charmed and cannot take actions until it can no longer see you, takes damage, or succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. A creature can use an action to shake the creature, ending the effect early. So, there you go. You don't have to sustain concentration on this. It's strictly gambling against how long do you think it's going to take for them to shake themselves out of the wisdom saving throw. So, and as it stands right now, the saving throw would be a DC 15, because you can use dexterity as your channeling feature, as your channeling stat if you choose. So it'd be 12 plus your proficiency modifier at 3rd level is 3. So your channeling saving throw would be a DC. The channeling attack is a plus 5. The saving throw would be a DC 13. Thank you. So those are the 2 freebies that you get. Encode thoughts. You can steal somebody's thought and keep it in storage, and you replace it whenever you use the cantrip again. Or you could crystallize it and then store other thoughts later. And then Mage Hand it's just Mage Hand. You know what that is. But we need to pick out, now that we have our Dimir features, we need to select a subclass for Dimir. So let's go subclass hunting. Oh, we have additional features that we need to include. Rogue. Okay, so you get your mana pool. Let's see. Channeling features. Powers, empowered maneuvers. Begin at 1st level. When you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks to reduce the cost of channeling and maneuver as a bonus action by 1 mana. For each attack sacrificed this way to a minimum of 0. For example, a 1st level rogue takes the attack action. You can choose to forgo the attack, reducing the cost of a maneuver you channel as a bonus action by 1 mana. It's going to eat up all of your round. You can move and then you can empower a strike, empower a maneuver for free, and then that's going to be all you have for the round. But then you also have your reaction, of course. So it costs a lot to do it, but it's free mana. So far it feels balanced at the higher end, but we'll see how the low levels go to see if we need to tweak anything. Powers and class features that increase the number of attacks you can make during an attack action can be sacrificed this way as well. For example, a 13th level rogue sustaining frenzied attacks makes 2 attacks as an attack action. If you sacrifice both attacks, you can reduce the cost of channeling a second rank maneuver as a bonus action to 0. So, let's see, empowered maneuvers. So if you're willing to eat up your action economy this way, you have infinite mana to channel through first-ranked powers that are maneuvers. So when we build our character, we're going to want to have a couple extra maneuvers to make sure that we're using... So we have as much mana as we want as long as we're channeling maneuvers. If they're useful maneuvers, there you go. Spam forever. But it's going to eat our bonus action and our attack action to do it. So it's going to have to be worth it. So... let's keep that in mind. Empowered maneuvers. Is there anything else that we're gaining? Power over precision. Oh, yeah, that's right. Power over precision. Power over precision. What this does is, starting at first level, you can reduce the amount of dice you roll when dealing sneak attack damage to temporarily gain additional mana. You can add 1 point of mana to your pool for every sneak attack damage die you sacrifice. This way. You can temporarily increase your mana pool above the maximum total. When you finish a long or short rest, any mana gained from this feature is lost, and you regain all sneak attack damage dice sacrificed this way. You can regain any number of sneak attack dice before taking a short or long rest at any time during your turn by spending mana in your mana pool equal to the amount of mana gained this way. So at third level, we have 2 sneak attack dice. If I got rid of sneak attack completely, just removed it as an option, I'd get 2 extra points of mana. At third level, 1 mana equals 1 per short rest. We'll go 3 and 3 and 3 equals sacrifice D6 sneak attack equals gain 1 free mana each. Since these things are upgrading, we should continue upgrading them as well. 3, and at third level, how many powers do we actually have to choose from at this level? 1, 2, there we go. Let's put this to the front of the bus. At third level, we actually have 4 powers we can learn. So gain 4 powers. There you go. So if you don't think you're going to have any combat before your next short rest, you can cash in your sneak attack dice to get extra mana to do other things with them. But if you're wrong, you could then pay... in this instance, the 2 mana, you could pay back the 2 mana to get your sneak attack dice back. You could say at 5th level, cash in all 3 of your sneak attack dice to get 3 extra mana. If you find that you are now needing sneak attack and you only have 2 points of mana left and you want it back, you can then spend those 2 points of mana to get your 2 sneak attack dice, but that mana is burned until your short rest. And you get all your sneak attack dice and you get all your mana back on short rests and long rests. So it just depends on how you want to break up your action economy. Do you want to lean into doing magic effects, or do you want to lean into mundane combat? And at higher levels, you can swap out sneak attack dice, kind of like Cunning Strikes from the 2024 playtest. You can cash in your sneak attack dice during an attack to get free mana instead, to channel powers instead of just dealing raw damage. So, 1 second here. I've got a bit of dead skin on my finger. There we go. Let's see. So that's all, but at 3rd level, this is all we get access to. So, archetype, roguish. Yeah, so let's, oh yeah, and again, 3 minutes short rest. Power die equals D6. Let's pick an archetype. Yeah, that's all the class features we get at this level. So archetypes. I mean, assassin's a pretty obvious one. For Dimir, sure. Inquisitive, mastermind, phantom. Phantom feels blue-blackish. I'm looking for something that feels Dimir, blue-black energy. Assassin feels blue-black energy. Inquisitive is more like white-green to me. Mastermind feels bluish, but more like Izzet or maybe Simic. Phantom feels very Dimir. So let's see. Assassin, Phantom. Scout is very green in energy. Soul Knife, Boros, Rakdos, Gruul. Could be, I mean, it could be Dimir. Yeah, it could be Dimir. Swashbuckler is very Boros in energy. Not specifically Dimir, it's too flashy-ish. Thief is like super base. And that's all of them. Oh yeah, and there's also the Arcane Trickster. Arcane Trickster can swap in spells instead of powers. And it has a couple other features, but I don't think I want to go... I don't want to go Arcane Trickster for this specifically. I want to lean more into... So, we have the Assassin, the Phantom, the Soul Knife, and the Thief. I don't know, let's roll a d4 and see which one we end up going with. Let's use random.org to determine our future. Random.org. We'll let true random numbers choose our fate, shan't we? Equals 3. So we're gonna go with a Soul Knife. Cool. So what does a Soul Knife get? Telepathy and telekinesis. Oh, that's the telekinesis is kind of redundant. Let's check out telekinesis real quick, just to make sure. I think that's a redundant feature we can do away with, but let's see, because that lets us swap out the mage hand for. Hold on, real quick. Telekinesis. Telekinetics. Is that how it is? Telekinetic. Hold on. All right, well, that's news. Let me fix it. Telekinetic. Let's go down to our stack. Our feats. Yeah, telekinetic. What does telekinetic do? Remind me, please. You learn to make things... You learn to move things with your mind, granting you the following benefits. You learn the Mage Hand cantrip. You can cast it without verbal or semantic... Oh, fuck that. All right, so we do not need Mage Hand. We can swap out the Mage Hand. Beep, 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 beep. Where is it? There we go. Do not need Mage Hand. What do we want? Cold damage or acid damage? We can go with either one right now. Let's go with acid. Nice. Oh, wait. You learn a Mage Hand cantrip. If you already know this spell, it ranges increases by 30 feet. Ooh, okay. Let's actually let's change our mind about that. Fucking that's tight. And what's the other thing we get from a soul knife? Holy shit, that was awesome. Oh, and telepathy. That's so awesome. Nice. So now we can speak telepathically. We can move things even further, up to 60 feet away, and it's invisible with our Mage Hand effect. And then, is that all we get at third? Yeah, that's what we get at third. And then we have the feature, which is Psionic Power. Holy shit. Okay. We get some stuff. Wow. Okay. Archetype, Soul Knight, feature 3 equals Psionic Power. The wellspring of psionic energy is expressed as your mana pool, listed above. Your psionic die is equal to your power die, listed above. You can regain 1 mana during a short rest. That's irrelevant because we already gained all that crap. Never mind. Psi bolstered a knack. When your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic power can help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency, you can roll 1 power die and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning failure into a success. So Psi bolstered knack. One mana equals was it reroll? No, it's add. Let's see. When your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic power can help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency, you can roll 1 power die and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning failure into success. 1 mana equals Sour die. If fail, tool, skill, when you ability, tool, ability check. +1 power die can succeed. I'm shorthanding this, but there it is. Psychic Whispers. You can sustain telepathic communication between yourself and others. Perfect required infiltration. As an action or bonus action, tap 1 mana and choose 1 or more creatures you can see, up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. While sustained, the chosen creatures can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them. To send or receive a message, no action required. You and the other creature must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if they can't speak any languages, and the creature can end the telepathic connection at any time, no action required. You and the creature don't need to speak a common language to understand each other. While sustained, Psychic Whisper, sustained effect, as an action or bonus action, tap 1 mana and choose one or more creatures you can see up to a number of creatures equal to, right. So what's this one called? Psychic Whispers. Tap 1 mana. Sustain telepathy with sustain telepathy with 1 creature per mana sustained. There you go. And then there's the telepathy feat. So let's look at that real quick. Telepathic. Ow, it's a telepathic. Let's see. You awaken the ability to mentally connect with others, granting you the following benefits. You can speak telepathically to any creature you can see within 60 feet of you. Your telepathic utterances are in languages you know, and the creature understands you only if it knows that language. Your communication doesn't give the creature the ability to respond to you telepathically. Just feed them in. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is a big upgrade. And you can cast a Detect Thought spell requiring no spell slot or component, and you must finish a long or short rest before you can cast it this way again. Your spellcasting ability for the spell. Let's go down into telepathy, and let's make that update. Hold on real quick. Telepathy, telepathic. Spend 2 mana to regain use. What's the duration on it? I see some text. Hold on real quick, guys. There you go. Long rest. Spend 2 mana to regain use. There. So, Psychic Whispers is actually super fucking useful. 3, what's up? Hey, Hornetica. Not quite yet. Where are we at? 57 minutes? I still got like a half hour. Although your timing would traditionally be the end of the stream. But no, we're building our Dimir Soul Knife is what we randomed into for the character that we're gonna build. So let's see. Psychic Whisper, Psychic Blades. You can manifest your psionic power as shimmering blades of psychic energy. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make the attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with a finesse and thrown property. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range. And on a hit, it deals psychic damage equal to your power die plus the ability modifier you used. Plus the ability modifier you used for the attack roll. Thank you. You can channel strike powers with this weapon as well. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses its target and leaves no mark on its target if it deals psychic damage. Because you can convert it to some other... If you're using a power that uses something other than psychic damage, it could deal other than psychic damage. As long as it's dealing, but you can choose. So like if I chose Thundering Strike, it could deal thunder damage, and then I use that with Psychic Blades, which deals psychic damage. I could choose thunder damage or psychic damage, whichever one's more beneficial to me, because I'm spending the extra mana on Thundering Strike. But it defaults to psychic damage. And this skin tag is just bugging that hell out of me. Thank you. Let's see. After you attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second Psychic Blade as a bonus action on the same turn, providing your other hand is free to create it. The damage die of the second bonus attack uses 1 dice smaller than your current power die. So at 3rd level, primary attack would be a d6, and the bonus attack is a d4. 9th level, d8, d6, d10, d8. There you go. And so, yeah. Psychic Blades. D6 attack. D4 bonus attack. So here's our class features. This is 3rd level character. Here's our channeling features. Here's our archetypes. Here's our proficiencies. Here's our default powers. And then we have... there we go. And we have 4 powers to stack with. Now, we know from empowered maneuvers, if we sacrifice our attack and use a bonus action, so we eat our attack action and we eat our bonus action, we can channel a first rank maneuver for 0 mana. Because the amount, if you're going to use a bonus action for a maneuver, the number of attacks that you sacrifice during your attack action is the number of, the amount of mana that you can reduce a maneuver channeled as a bonus action. So you effectively have infinite mana to channel only maneuvers as long as you're also eating your action turn, your attack action as your turn. So it eats up a lot of action economy for free mana, but depending on which maneuvers we choose, that can be incredibly beneficial. Also being aware that you can't normally use attacks and bonus actions outside of combat. So doing these things just on the casual is going to cost you mana. It's during combat when you're using all of your action economy that you can give up action economy to get free mana. During casual encounters, your character's action economy is not built to always have attacks, bonus action, and reactions during, like, say, downtime activity or exploration challenges or social challenges. That is during the combat pillar of adventure only. So we need to think about how we are, what gear are we in an adventure while we're adventuring to know when you get free mana and you don't. So having said that, let's go hunt for some maneuver. I think maneuvers at 3rd level, when you don't have a lot of mana, we only have 3 mana per short rest right now. If we burn off our sneak attack dice and we forgo that until the next short rest, we'll have 5 mana during our turn. That's still not a lot to carry. So we'll probably want a sustained power for outside of combat that we can just turn on and keep on. And then we're going to want to have powers. We'll want to have maneuvers that we can use at will. And we can just rely on our sneak attack dice to deal extra damage until we ramp up in levels and have a larger resource pool for us to be able to do more damage with. So let's see. Let's first pick out a maneuver. Let's first pick a sustained power, so we can lock down 1 point of mana and know what we're gonna do with that. So anyone else that's reading along is welcome to chip in some thoughts about it. But for the meantime, let's go down to let's see. Sustained effects. Here we are. What's some cool shit? We have telepathic. We have telekinetic. We have subtle. We have we're rogue as it is. Cliff Runner might eventually be useful, but I doubt it'll be necessary at 1st level or at 3rd level. I think Cliff Runner might be something we can consider around 5th or higher level when we can sustain multiple points of mana. Right now we can only sustain 1 point of mana at a time. So crouching stance is useful, but again, that's a really quality of life thing when you can afford to tap or maintain multiple first rank powers. It's good, but it's not critical. Dire Impact is another luxury. Elemental resistance is certainly useful. Oof. Inspired skill. While sustaining this power, you gain proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different skill or tool with each channeling. But at 3rd level, we only have access to 1st rank power. Here again, we have the half casting progression. So we won't have 2 mana or being able to channel 2 mana worth of powers until 5th. But inspired skill is just universally useful, especially for rogue, being able to tap into anything at any time. Omnilinguist becomes redundant because we have telepathic and we have the psychic whisper stuff. Power armor and shield, that's more luxury stuff. Ranged skirmisher. We have the psychic blade, which is a thrown weapon with a 60-foot range. So I don't see us picking up a bow or a crossbow to have a greater range. I think we're just going to stay inside of our thrown weapons, and you can channel strikes through thrown weapons for free. Bows and other ranged weapons, you have to have the ranged skirmisher power to be able to. You can see here, strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a thrown weapon at far range, which the psychic blade does not have a far range. It caps at 60 feet, and that's it. Also, strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a ranged weapon at normal range, like a bow or a crossbow. If you have this sustained, you can then use strikes to trigger extra damage, but otherwise you wouldn't normally be able to do so. You can create temporary non-magical weapons or ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a thrown or ranged attack, which disappear after finishing the attack, which is something you see on Arcane Archer. But again, the soul knife gets that for free. We automatically get Rogue Stance because we're a rogue. Saving Grace. While sustaining this power, you have advantage on saving throws with one ability of your choice. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different ability score with each channeling. Saving Grace is a really useful... Oh, that's a... let's see. What we have. Inspired Skill. And Saving Grace. These are useful because you can turn them on when you need them, otherwise leaving them off. And when you tap or lock an effect, that mana goes one way towards being spent. It can't come back to you. But Saving Grace, like I was talking about earlier, if you're building against color mana system, if you're building your encounters correct, you're going to have 2 abilities. You're going to have 2 types of saving throws each combat challenge. A physical saving throw and a mental saving throw. So that you're always testing the mana that's being sustained by characters that aren't willing to lock it because they want to leave their options open. You can choose to maintain concentration on an effect and continue channeling other abilities while you do so. But if you get dinged with a rogue saving, like a random saving throw, you could end up burning your mana and then have to channel it again and burn more mana to get it up and running. Or you could lock it, and if you lock it, you shut yourself off from mana for the amount of mana that you've locked. So a first rank power, you can lock that power so you don't have to maintain concentration on it anymore, but you can't spend any mana during your when you're channeling powers. The maneuver, the empowered maneuvers, that lets you drop the cost of a first rank maneuver down to 0 by eating your attack action and your bonus action, gets around this rule because you aren't actually spending any mana, even though it's a first rank power that you're channeling. So you could lock a power, cut yourself off from spending mana, but then use your cheats to get that mana cost down to 0 so that you actually would still be able to use it at the cost of action economy during your turn. So these are good things to have on the board, but I don't know if I necessarily want to have both of them right now. Beguiling Trance is a great way to shut down one target. Subtle Channeling is a good way of preventing trouble, but doesn't have any real direct impact on anything. Encode Thoughts doesn't have any real direct impact on things. Mage Hand is useful in that you can use it as a distract action up to 60 feet away, or to be able to maneuver, use tools at a distance. Like if you want to pick a lock or something and not be next to it, you can do that. That's eating up half of our options right now. I don't know if I want both of those. Let's continue digging through and let's see if there's, since we get maneuvers for free and we're potentially going to lock one of these things during combat, like Saving Grace is something that we would, once we identify our enemies are throwing intelligence saving throws and dexterity saving throws, for instance. The rogue is great with the dexterity saving throws. He has proficiency, so he's good with that. The saving grace, it's what advantage. While sustaining this power, you have advantage on saving throws with one ability score. So like if it's intelligence, well, I happen to have intelligence as my proficiency too, so that's not a good example. Let's say it's a charisma saving throw and a dexterity saving throw that are being forced on you. Since I don't have proficiency with charisma, and in this instance, for this character, my charisma is actually a -2. Having saving grace to counter charisma and intelligence saving throws is actually pretty useful because those are my dump stats. So yeah, keeping saving grace is good. Inspired skill comes up. It's something that can come up, like if I'm in a downtime situation and I don't think I'm anticipating combat, these are just where I'm at right now. I can change these every day. This is just how we're starting the adventure. If I'm finding that inspired skill isn't proving any use, I could swap it for something else. This is not written in stone. All of these are powers. Let's see, martial powers. Known. And then let's go with this. Prepared. So we're just going to start the game with these 4 options. We can always swap them out if we need to. So actually leaving them as inspired skill and saving grace is really good. But let's go back up into the maneuvers to see if there's any cool first rank maneuvers that we want to pick up that we can basically spam for free, right? So let's see what cool shit's out there. We got Beguiling Trance already, so we can always, you can target I'm gonna have to put ranges in these things, probably like 60-foot ranges maybe. But currently the way things read is you can target a creature that you can see that can also see you, and they'll probably add like within 60 feet. You can see you make a saving throw. If it fails, it is charmed and cannot take actions until it can no longer see you, takes damage, or succeeds a wisdom saving throw to end the effect. But I can do it all the time during combat as long as I'm triggering maneuvers, as long as I'm, again, dumping my attacks and spending my bonus action to do the same for free. It's one target at a time. I don't have to maintain these with concentration. They're self-maintained. They basically last until you succeed or someone shakes you out of it or one of these conditions are met. You take damage, I can't see you anymore, I make my wisdom saving throw at the end of each of my turns, or someone shakes me out of it. So Beguiling Trance is a good maneuver that's always there. It helps me get away from shit. So if I end up in combat with a guard or something and I don't want to be there, I can hit him with Beguiling Trance and then beat feet. And when he loses sight of me, then he'll shake out of it. But I'll be gone, and he can't do anything about it at that point, hopefully. Bonus action, make an attack with a weapon you're holding. Or you can draw a weapon as part of the attack action. Make the attack with advantage. This would allow me to always trigger a sneak attack by abandoning my normal attack and using my bonus action. I could then trigger a sneak attack on my own, which would allow me to maintain tempo in combat. I'd have to eat up my attack, it'd get rid of my bonus action, but I could self-serve sneak attack on demand. That's not bad. It's not bad. Let's pencil that in. Bonus attack. We're gonna pencil that in because that's super fucking useful. Like that makes up for not really being able to afford strikes at this level because you're getting that extra 2d6 sneak attack when you trigger this stuff. That's really useful. One more thing to pick up. I mean, again, this is just the initial stuff, the initial take. We can always swap stuff out. Anytime you finish a long rest, you can swap out all your abilities, and when you finish a short rest, you can swap one of these. So we could technically swap between Inspired Skill and Saving Grace on short rests if we're expecting combat or not expecting combat. Yeah, so let's see how these things stack up, see if there's anything else we want to grab. Let's see, you can curse a creature you can see to reduce the result of all attack rolls by the highest roll of 1 power die per mana burned. So it'd be a d6. The creature can make an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect when it succeeds. So you'd roll a power die, it would have that much penalty to its attack rolls until it can succeed an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns. That's a good support thing to do. There might be something more useful. You curse a creature you can see to roll ability checks and concentration checks with this advantage. And they can make a saving throw, intelligence saving throw at the end of turn, and the effect when they succeed. Flatten. You choose a creature within 30 feet. It takes 1 power die per mana of force damage, and if it fails a strength saving throw, it's knocked prone. And it can't end the prone condition until it succeeds a strength saving throw at the end of each of its turns. It can still crawl around and be disadvantaged to attack. It just can't get up. So it's a fun little debuff. I don't do grappling, so restrain hold is not useful. We're too low level to anticipate a lot of magic items, so swift attunement's a luxury feature, probably like a 9th level feature when you start stacking on stuff. Swift resuscitation is nice to be able to stabilize a dying creature. But, and you can restore a number of hit points equal to your maximum rank of power, which would only be 1 right now. So, not a biggie. Vanish. You can become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. That's really fucking useful. Really, really useful. Rally. You can give a number of temporary hit points. That doesn't feel very Dimir. Go draw attacks to you. That's not very Dimir. Yeah, this all feels like a very Dimir kit. And again, you can swap it out if you want. Let's go see if there's any reactions that are gotta have a habit. That's 2nd rank. Resistance, it's probably not going to be... We'll see resistances at 3rd level, but probably not enough to warrant curse. Well, I don't know. Nah. Deflection as a reaction to when you or an ally within reach of your attack are hit by an attack roll source. The attack is rerolled. Downtrodden. Iron Will. Oof. Roll if the hit would work really nicely with Uncanny Dodge. Opt as a reaction to failing an ability check. You can reroll. Oh, you get this basically for free, but it's you get to add the power die instead of the reroll. This would work great with the feature that lets you reroll the die. Add a power die for free. To reroll with advantage, to reroll the d20, take the best result, and add a d6, using the feature from the soul knife. That's really good, but I think that's something that we would opt into around 5th level when we have more mana stacking up for us. Yeah, honestly, I think that's a good set. I'm happy with that. We're an elf, so we'd have to flesh out all the little bits. Stat line. Race, background, class, cool. All right, so that's a 3rd level character. Nice. Ick. Just double checking real quick. There. Okay, cool. So I think we're going to call that. Elf stuff, we didn't fill in yet. House Dimir, we have taken care of. Class, we have the features taken care of. We should have racial features as well. We can build these out into this with an illustration for each of them. Would be pretty cool. I think I'll steal some Pathfinder looking rogues, elf rogue. But yeah. Okay, so this is Dimir, right? So we have to break up our mana. Mana pool equals 3 per short rest. And we can switch out black and blue anytime we want. Black equals, blue equals. Okay, so things that you gain from your subclass and your background can use any color mana that you want. Dimir is devoted to black and blue mana specifically. So all of these can be used with black or blue mana as needed, if needed. And in this instance, the feats don't require mana. The cantrips don't require mana. The subtle channeling and the beguiling trance require mana. The feature of the side bolster knack, spend a point of mana. That can be any color mana. And sustained telepathy with 1 creature per mana sustained. That can be any color mana. Psychic blades don't have any color. So we want to break up our pool. We want to decide how we're going to spend our mana. So what do we have right now? We have sustained powers and maneuvers only. So what do we want, black or blue? Sustained. Let's go exploits and maneuvers. And then blue will go sustained because there's 5 disciplines. There's sustained, exploits, maneuvers, reactions, and strikes. You have 2 colors. In this instance, black and blue. One of these disciplines can be both colors. And then the remaining 4, 2 of them are one color and 2 of them are the other color. In this instance, we've built this character specifically so they only have sustained powers, maneuvers, and exploits. Everything else is free. So by putting both exploits and maneuvers into black energy, we don't have to worry about having blue at all. That would be reactions, strikes. So when we have our 3 mana, as it stands currently, anytime if we were to decide to pick up a reaction or a strike, we would have to use blue mana to do so. So when we finish our short rest, we get all our mana back, and I can decide how much of this 3 mana do I want to be black, and how much of this mana do I want to be blue. And again, sustained, it doesn't matter, and all these known powers, it doesn't matter, but the ones that I prepare, it does matter. And the only powers I have are maneuvers and sustained, which can all be either black, which can all just be black. So I don't need black and blue mana right now until I diversify my powers to incorporate reactions and strikes. Until I decide to get into those, I don't need blue mana at all. If I decided that I wanted a reaction or a strike, I could pick it up and then I'd have to have blue mana, or I could decide to learn a reaction. I could learn the same reaction twice, to learn the maneuver, and then to change what color the maneuver is. So if I wanted to learn a specific reaction twice, I could also make that black, but it's going to reduce the amount of options that are available to my character to channel power into at all. So it has a lot of flexibility, but restrictions on how you can use that flexibility to create rules to express your character and to give you something to leverage off of to make this not too good to be true. So if you just go with universal spell points and just the 8 schools of generic magic, then you don't have to worry about dividing your pool up. But that, I think, is actually an advantage of color mana, that it makes casters and these sort of things decide what kind of a caster they want to be, where do they want to devote their focus, and if they want to maximize their color pool, they're going to have to spend time or to research these things to be the color that they want, or reduce the amount of things that they can prepare at a time to keep their color pool in line with where they want it to be. So anyway, there's that. So this is how our color, and again, you can change all these things on short rest. You can you can't change how you have disciplines devoted. Like I can't change strikes to black mana until I gain a level. So until I gain 4th level, this will stay blue mana equals reactions and strikes. There you go. But anytime I finish a short rest, I can swap out how much mana is each color. Every time I take a short rest, I can swap that stuff out. So it's flexible but limited in the moment. Beep, 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 beep. Let's do this. No, we'll just leave it like that. That's good. Yeah, so that's our character. Dimir, looking awfully black magic right now. That's cool. As you gain levels, probably like around 6th level, you're going to want to have 2 colors so you can have all the tools in the toolkit, but there's so much shit you can do right now. Like, if we really lean into this, we could make maneuvers blue and only use maneuvers that we drop down to 0 cost. So you wouldn't have to maintain any blue mana because you're always paying a 0 cost. So once we start incorporating strikes, and like you don't get to incorporate strikes for free into sneak attacks until 7th level. So by 7th level, we might want to consider adding strikes, and we could just leave them blue, but only use them during sneak attacks when we set up a sneak attack option, and then take away sneak attack dice to give ourselves free points of mana so we can do strikes for free. That way we can keep maintaining our mana pool down to 1 color. So there you go. All right, that's going to be it for today. Yeah, we're at an hour and a half, just about where I wanted to be. So this curved out perfectly. We're going to be back on Friday. We're going to build something with Azorius. Probably like a fighter maybe, or maybe a paladin. I'm not sure. But we'll be back on Monday. We'll build out, maybe we'll go with a Battle Master because I've talked about the Azorius Battle Master before. I think maybe we'll actually do that just to show how that works. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. So that's where we're at for now. If you think this stuff is cool or you want to find out more about this, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Check down below to jump into my Discord if you want to mix up ideas with me and throw ideas around. And if you want to be part of the playtest, just click in the playtest area that you're interested, so that when we start doing votes on what day of the week we're going to run the testing, you can participate in that. We'll have a couple different options available. Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys. I'm out for the day. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue Spelljammer artwork. And then it'll be Wednesday. So that'll be the only time that we're active tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Laters.